Well, I've returned. Took a few days off, tried to collect my thoughts, and haven't really came to a nice conclusion about things. So I think the best way to deal with things is just to not talk about anything and go right into work as usual. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself, oh, and why is NXT not on this video? And my simple response is this. I thought it would make perfect sense to put out my NXT recap, which I have the notes for right here in my hands. I want to put it out on Wednesday for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is the day before the NXT Arrival event on the WWE Network, and I thought it'd be a good lead-up to the NXT event, which is a 2-hour special, mind you, instead of just putting it on the beginning of this video. And I'll just focus mainly on SmackDown, talking about the Elimination Chamber tomorrow. So I wanted to do that. And furthermore, I kind of work Wednesday, so I didn't really have time to shoot out a normal video, so I will be shooting out a NXT recap instead on Wednesday. I know. But this SmackDown video is actually going to be a bonus video, even though normally the SmackDown recap does come on Saturday. I have not been sticking to that as of late, so basically what I'm trying to say is, you're getting this video tonight, and before I get started with anything, talk a little bit of housekeeping like we always do here on Pop. I do want to say real quick that I want to throw out a mention real quick before we get started, and say that I was actually up until about 6:15 this morning. I got a couple hours of sleep, I think about 3-4 hours. Yeah, it's been a long night, and basically it was because I was up all night. Why was I up all night? Actually, I was officially making my podcast debut. That's right, Sir Owen Disney is on Ashley's Sticks and Flicks on the SNS Radio Network coming this weekend. I don't know if it'll be up tomorrow or if it'll be up on Monday or after the fact, but we actually talked about the Oscars, we talked about the Independent Spirit Awards, and we also talked about the Golden Raspberries, and it's a really nice podcast, really enjoyable, and I also can make the announcement that Ashley's coming to Pop in March sometime. So yeah, Ashley will be joining the Popcaster team as of March. So there's been kind of a void lately. It's just been AJ and myself. Everybody else has been way too busy. No matter, very soon you're going to be getting Ashley videos here on Pop. So a British perspective, something we don't have. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does for the network. And in general, he's going to be talking a lot about video games and some other things that we don't really focus on here on Pop. We've been in search for a video game reviewer for quite a while, and I remember back when we first had the idea to do this, Austin was going to be our video game reviewer, and he would have been, but he didn't have the time. So Ashley will be coming to Pop very soon, so I'm very excited about that. So don't know if I'll be back on the SNS Radio Network or not. I guess that's up to the viewers and up to the higher-ups. So if you like me on the SNS Radio Network, tell them you want to hear more. So there's always that. Now, I will say real quick that there are a lot of things coming this week. First off, I do want to mention that news was broken earlier today that there's a rumor that construction has gotten so far behind, Diagon Alley may not open until August at the latest, which is going to be insane because I was hoping Diagon Alley would open a couple months earlier than that, get a lot of the crowds out of the way. And then when I walk into September, since I'm going to be staying at Cabana Bay, I just walk on property, walk, and walk right in as a single rider. No, I'm going to be facing the insane crowds. You know, the crowds that were there for opening of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter over at Hogsmeade over at IOA. So that will be interesting to see what happens there. I will be getting a lot of footage here on Pop of Diagon Alley. So that is a guarantee right now. I will definitely have a lot of footage. I don't know about Escape from Gringotts. It kind of depends on how hardcore the ride is, and if I think I can hold this for long enough to complete the ride without dropping it into the abyss that is the Gringotts bank vault, or anything else, really. So, I also will say, Disney News, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train will be opening very soon. It's actually, they're testing it right now in the final stages of testing, so it will be soft open to the public very soon. That being said, I'm pretty sure I will have a video of that on Pop as well. I don't think it can be extreme enough. Don't forget, I do have a ride video of the new test track, so there's always that. Now, I do want to throw out another thing real quick. It's a busy week here on Pop. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to throw out a brand new Versus. It's the final romance-themed Versus, which I even said on the video, it actually completely changed. It changed overnight, actually. There was actually another opponent that one movie was going to have. That movie dropped out because something else got pushed in. So the movie that is not going to be in the Versus tomorrow will probably be paired up with something else down the road. And I also wanted to ask you guys something just real quick up front. For those of you that are regular viewers of Versus, and I know there are a lot of you, I will say right now, I'm curious, are you guys liking the idea of being surprised by what comes up on Sunday, or would you like to know in advance? If you know in advance, maybe you're more hyped for it. If you don't know what's going on, maybe you're more hyped for it, the unknown factor of it. I mean, drop me an email, drop me a message, leave a comment, and let me know. Let me know what you think. So, like I said, we have Ashley coming to Pop soon, and Will will be returning to Pop soon. Ben is MIA right now, but he will be returning in the future. He's not abandoning the channel. He'll be coming back soon. And AJ and myself will continue to give you content each and every day. This is coming up on a lot of milestones. Like Monday, for example, this coming Monday, tomorrow is the Elimination Chamber. And it is the last official pay-per-view that everyone will have to pay for. Pay like $60 for. Now, starting Monday, of course, the debut of the WWE Network, and I'm very excited for 9 a.m. to come about, so I can start watching original programming, and you know what? I'm planning on watching a whole lot of WCW next week, a lot of stuff I missed, a lot of the pay-per-views I did not get to see when they first aired. So, I'm looking forward to that. And, of course, I've got work next week, got a couple days of work, but I will also throw out the fact that this coming week is Oscar week. And Saturday is the Spirit Awards, and Sunday is the actual Oscar ceremony. So I'm very excited about that. So literally, a week from today is the Spirits, a week from tomorrow is the Oscars. And then this whole award ceremony will finally be over after I do a couple recaps of said award shows. We're done. And unless they come up in Versus or movie reviews, we're probably not going to be talking Oscars until, I'd say, August or September, if I had to guess. So, there's always that. That being said, I'm going to get started with Smackdown, and I just finished watching it. I watched, again, a version I found on the internet, which is awesome. Has next to no commentary, and no commercials. So, I like that. I like that a lot. Actually, it was about an hour and 35 minutes, I think. I'm not positive on that. Don't quote me, but I think that that's right. So let's talk about it, shall we? We're on the road to Elimination Chamber, which is tomorrow. Which, oh, by the way, excuse me, I am continuing my tradition of doing simulations of the pay-per-views on WWE 2K14. So, actually, after this video is done, when I'm starting to upload this video, I'm going to get on my PlayStation 3, and I'm going to simulate what I think is going to happen at the pay-per-view. If you guys are curious what actually my results were, then let me know. I can't really film them, but I can at least tell you what the finishes were. So just shoot me a line if you want to know that. So we start the show off with Daniel Bryan. Yes, the MVP of the WWE starting it off. He's going to face off against the #1 contender to Big E's Intercontinental Championship, Jack Swagger, of course, along with Cesaro and Zeb Coulter. So let's talk about this match, shall we? Swagger goes to get whipped in. He reverses. Bryan with a backflip, lands on his feet, ducks the clothesline. Bryan nails the hooking clothesline. And he nails the running dropkick once, and then he nails the running dropkick twice. And he goes, and Swagger goes to the floor to break up momentum. So he gets nailed with a baseball slide, and he charges off the ring apron. He gets caught by Swagger and dropped hard into the barricade, shoulder first. So the whole match he's basically working the shoulder. Smart move. There's been a lot of arm work on this edition of SmackDown, to be totally honest. But between this match and Sheamus and Christian, there was a lot of arm work in this show. It really was. So he picks him up and he tosses him hard in the ring post. And that doesn't do it justice. What he literally did was, he pressed him gorilla press, military press style over his head and just launched him like a lawn dart. Shoulder first into the ring post. Looked brutal. Tossed him in, 1-2, and Bryan kicks out. So he pulls up on the shoulder. He ties up the arm in the ropes and repeated knees, basically adding more insult to injury. He locks the backhammer and he does his big takedown, and then he picks up Bryan, does the same move again to just put more pressure on the arm. He puts him on the turnbuckle, he climbs up, he's going for the superplex, is what we believe. But what he does, he backhammers, and he looks like he's going for the takedown off the top with the backhammer intact. And, of course, Bryan slips out of the way, comes off, nails the fire-breathing knee, and gets the 3 count. So Vicky comes out with Kane. Vicky congratulates Bryan on his victory, and he basically is going to be rewarded by getting to compete again against Cesaro. And this match is up next. So, Bryan running the Real Americans Gauntlet to start off SmackDown this week. So we come back to live action. Cesaro's got an armbar in and whip in and repeated left and right Swiss uppercuts in the corner. He does a charging Swiss uppercut. He puts him on the buckle, and 2 big forearms staggers Bryan. He climbs up. He's going for the superplex. Bryan tries to punch his way out, and one final headbutt knocks Cesaro off to the canvas below. He nails the missile drop kick, and when Cesaro gets up to his knees, he goes for the yes kicks, goes for the buzzsaw, gets caught, and Cesaro swing. 20 rotations on the swing, and Bryan's so discombobulated, he pretty much just goes to the floor. Cesaro grabs him, tosses him back in. He goes to take advantage, and Bryan rolls him up into a small package, 1-2, and a kick out. And he pops up, and bam, Swiss Death, 1-2, and Bryan kicks out. He does the running Swiss uppercut in the corner, and the body shots repeatedly. He yanks the arm up and down, and out of nowhere, Cesaro gets peppered with the fire-breathing knee. Kane gets in the ring, chokeslams Bryan, and that's an immediate disqualification. He gets on the mic, and he announces the winner is Daniel Bryan via outside interference. And Cesaro gets in the ring after the match is over, and he just lays Bryan out with the neutralizer. I will say right now that the fans are quick to pop for the Cesaro swing. Obviously, it makes total sense. In a match against Daniel Bryan, the fans kind of got split down the middle, but here's the thing. This is the genius of Cesaro right here. He was able to take a spot that normally gets a nice pop, and doing it to Daniel Bryan actually got a heel reaction, which is good, because that's what he is. As of this moment, Cesaro's a heel, and you have to realize that. He's a great heel, because he's old school. I believe JBL's terminology is he's a throwback, and he certainly is. He's kind of like what they tried to do with Vladimir Kozlov that didn't work. Cesaro is a tremendous wrestler, and he can take that gimmick, a throwaway gimmick, and just make it into something incredible. And that's exactly what Cesaro is. I like the fact after the match was over, you could even sell the fact that Cesaro did not hear that the match was over, and he gets the neutralizer because the match was still going on in his mind. No, that's not what we went with. He heard it as clear as day and still laid out Bryan to end the segment. So it worked fine for me. So Renee Young, who's quickly becoming my favorite backstage interviewer, is backstage with Christian. Of course, we're talking about a potential heel turn for Christian, and I think this pretty much completes it right here. What he did on SmackDown completed the fact that Christian's turning heel for his final run in WWE before he either A, retires, B, goes back to TNA, or C, joins Jeff Jarrett. I'm pretty sure one of those three is the option. I think he belongs back in TNA. I think he's missed there, to be totally honest. Imagine the matches he could have with Magnus and Joe. So, Christian the Desperate Man. He sees that the window of opportunity for him being WWE World Heavyweight Champion is closing, and this may be his last opportunity. If he wants one more match, he can't really worry about the fans, and he basically calls them a bunch of sloths that eat a lot, and they've done nothing at all. Obviously, he's putting under his peeps, starting the rotation of a real heel turn in this show. He basically says that desperation equals dangerous. And that's exactly what Christian's going to be in the Chamber on Sunday. Interesting. I like the fact that Christian looks like he's going to be the throwaway competitor in the Chamber, but he's the one that has an interesting storyline going into it. Granted, now all 6 men have an interesting storyline going into it. Will be interesting to see what happens. So, we get our next match, 6-man tag team action. Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, and Luke Harper of the Wyatt family taking on Goldust and Cody Rhodes, the Brotherhood, as well as Rey Mysterio Jr. So, once again, before this match starts, Bray cuts an amazing promo. And, of course, it is as followed. There really ain't much left to say now, is there? Now, Shield, they don't realize it yet, but they are just 3 dominoes set up in a line. And when they fall, the next will follow. They ask, and they beg, and they plead for people to believe in them. Oh, but I say, how would anyone be able to believe in the Shield when they are crawling on their hands and knees, looking up to the Eater of Worlds? Follow the buzzards. Incredible, incredible stuff. Very cryptic. Still meaningless for the most part, but cryptic and awesome at the same time. Bray Wyatt is truly a mic general now. He really is. He's one of the best promo guys in WWE right now, without any question. And like I said a long time ago that Bray Wyatt, if promoted properly, could be the next Mankind. We could have a Bray Wyatt-Undertaker feud like a Mankind feud, but we're at the point now, I don't know how many WrestleManias Undertaker has left. I don't know if he could work even a short-term program, even maybe like a SummerSlam, a Mania, a Survivor Series, a Rumble, something like that. Just make it mean something. But I really would like to see Bray Wyatt and Undertaker battle it out at Mania at some point. I think that that's a good idea. So, but we'll talk about that later. So we get our 6-man tag team action. We go midway through the match like we do here on Pop. Nice elbow to Goldust, 1-2, and a kick out. So a choke on the ropes. Harper tags in Eric Rowan, and he headbutts him. Goldust fights out of the corner. Elbow strike out of the Wyatt corner. He hits Bray. He hits Harper. He boots Rowan in the midsection. Excuse me. And he gets caught with a huge forearm. Leaping knee by Rowan, 1-2 and a kick out. Tagging to Harper, he drops 3 stiff elbows. The chin lock, into the side headlock, and Goldust punches his way out. Goes off the ropes, gets mowed over with the elbow, and Goldust gets caught up in the gator roll, into the side headlock. We know how Harper do. And Goldust punches his way out. So an elbow to the back of the neck on 2 separate occasions breaks up Goldust's momentum. He goes back to the gator roll, does Luke Harper, into the side headlock. Goldust again punches his way out, nails the uppercut, and he catches the elbow out of the corner once again, and this time the boot in the midsection on Harper. He comes out and Code Gold, the flipping sunset flip, the Code Red, whatever you want to call it, and tagging to Cody. So, springboard missile drop kick, boot in the midsection, drop down uppercut, whip in, reverse, charges in, gets the boot up, standing moonsault, 1-2, and a kick out. So he pushes him off to the ropes. Blind tag to Ray. Cody low bridge, and Ray kicks Harper right in the face. Cody uses momentum to toss Ray under the bottom rope into a splash on Harper on the floor, which looks great every single time. Catches Harper with a satellite head scissors takeover, and doesn't take him to the ground. He takes him ribs first into the ring apron. Comes off the ropes, and a snap Rana. Charges in, going for the 619. He gets caught with a huge big boot. Bray tags himself in, 1-2, and a kick out. So repeated headbutts in the corner. Tagging a Rowan. Rowan comes in with a big scoop slam, and his version of Masato Tanaka's sliding D picks him up, and the side-to-side bear hug, the one where he literally ragdolls him from left to right, turned into a regular side bear hug. Mysterio elbows his way out and gets caught off the ropes with a huge sidewalk slam. 1-2, Mysterio kicks out. Tagging to Harper. Whites have cut the ring off here. Drops the elbow. 2 big uppercuts and a spinning suplex, modified jackhammer style. Tagging to Bray. Whip in, charges in with a huge avalanche in the corner. He goes for the charge again. Ray catches him, drop to hold in the middle turnbuckle, and tag into Eric Rowan. Toss him into the corner, charges in. Ray gets the boot up, and he slides to the legs. Tagging to Goldust, ducks the clothesline, and a big boot. Drop down uppercut, inverted atomic drop, ducks the clothesline, catches him off the ropes with the spine buster, and he knocks Luke Harper off the ring apron for good measure. So Rowan comes in with a knee, stops the momentum there. Whip in, charges in, catches the back elbow. The 180 flying body press from Goldust. Bray goes to attack, and he gets sidestepped Rob Petrie style and tossed over the top rope to the floor. So Rowan goes to pick up. He lands on his feet, does Goldust. Ray comes in with a snap Rana, and he gets caught, swung up into the barricade on the floor. Goldust with a double jump plancha, and tagging to Bray. Goldust with a bulldog on Eric Rowan, and he sets up for Shattered Dreams. He goes to charge in. Bray catches him with a huge body check. Sister Abigail, that's all she wrote. The Wyatt family win this match. And this was the match that I wanted to see on Monday that I didn't get to see. A true showcase of the Wyatt family. Because if you think about it, the Shield were not on this SmackDown at all. The Shield have got a lot into this program with the Wyatts. This has not really been much about the Wyatts overall. I mean, we've had our awesome Mexican standoffs on Raw and SmackDown, and we've had the Shield with the fact that they're going to break up any day now, and probably on Sunday. But still, this was all about the Wyatts, and that was the right direction to go. And given the fact that we're going into Elimination Chamber tomorrow, almost 24 hours from right this very moment, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Byron Saxton's with Sheamus, and Sheamus basically is pretty much taking credit for the new turn in Christian's attitude. He says, that's fine, I'm looking for a fight anyway. I kicked you by accident last time, this time it won't be an accident. So we get Lana, and her promo, of course, talking about Alexander Rusev, the Bulgarian brute. He knows nothing of entitlement. He will achieve greatness by any means necessary. He's the super athlete, Alexander Rusev, and I believe, personally, Rusev will make his presence known Monday on Raw. I think that's going to be the first time we really see him do anything outside of his performance in the Rumble, the stuff he did with Kofi Kingston. I think that we're going to see Rusev do something at Raw on Monday. But then again, this Raw on Monday is so important and so packed anyway, I'm not exactly sure there's going to be time for anything like this. I don't know. It could go either way at this point. So we get another match. Obviously, this is setting up the singles match we're going to be getting between the former Primetime players tomorrow at Elimination Chamber. Titus O'Neil taking on Dolph Ziggler. Dolph, of course, just happened to be booked at this point. Dolph nails a standing dropkick midway through this match. Crossbody gets caught. Huge backbreaker from Titus. Chinlock and Dolph with the Jawbreaker out. Charge in, miss, ducks the clothesline, crossbody again, and this time he connects. Charges in with a 10-punch in the corner, reverse neck breaker, goes for the name dropper. Titus ducks out of the way, nails him with a big boot, and Darren Young, who's on commentary during this match, mind you, decides to take matters in his own hands and distract his former tag team partner by grabbing his own whistle and blowing it incessantly, like Bill Alfonso style, and standing on the announce table and doing just that. This allows for Titus to get distracted just long enough for Dolph to roll him up from behind. 1, 2, 3, and Dolph Ziggler wins on television. I can't say that very often, and that's a shame. It was nice of the commentary team reminding us that Dolph Ziggler was a former World Heavyweight Champion. That seems like so long ago, doesn't it? Still adding more fuel to the fire of this angry young man stable that I've been talking about doing with Dolph and Zack Ryder and The Miz and Kurt Hawkins And, you know, at this point, even Alberto Del Rio and Damian Sandow. So, who knows? I think that has a lot of potential if they go with it. But then again, it's probably not something that's even on their radar at this point. So, I said this on Raw, and it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. After we got Jey Uso and Billy Gunn, that not very good match on Raw, we were going to get Road Dogg and Jimmy on SmackDown. That's exactly what we got. And let's talk about this match. It's really short. Whip in reverse, and Road Dogg goes for a hip toss, gets blocked, comes off the ropes, and a boot to the side of the head of Jimmy Uso. One count only, goes to the chin lock with a knee firmly planted in the lower back, and a kick straight to the spine, boot in the midsection, snapmare out of the corner, and chin lock with a knee in the back again. Jimmy fights out with an elbow, comes off the ropes, gets caught, and Samoan drop from Jimmy Uso. Ducks the clothesline, savate kick to the ribs, and he gets tossed to the ropes. Ducks the clothesline yet again, and goes for juke, jive, and wail, and he goes for the swing. When he swings, he misses, gets caught, full Nelson sit-out powerbomb, Bubba Dudley style. The running butt bump in the corner is stopped by Road Dogg smartly going to the ropes, going to the floor, and when Jimmy tries to see what's going on, to pull him back in the ring, he gets caught with an underhanded tactic, a right hand. Road Dogg gets back in the ring, boot in the midsection, going for the pump handle, slam, and of course, he floats over, lands on his feet, super kick, 1, 2, 3, and Jimmy Uso wins. So, the Usos have the momentum going into tomorrow, which, of course, we know what that means. Wrestling Booking 101 says Outlaws retain at Elimination Chamber, and that's what I predicted anyway. But we'll talk Elimination Chamber in a bit. So, main event time, it is Sheamus against Christian, the newly heel-turned Christian, I guess you would say in this case. This match wasn't bad. I've seen worse matches between the two of them. It was long. It was a nice, long television match, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the chemistry between Sheamus and Christian. Even though, to me, Sheamus really needs freshened up more than Christian does at this point. I think there's a case to be made that both need freshened up. That maybe, just maybe, they need to be, like, a heel, I can't say tag team, but a heel, like, faction, or part of a faction, because Christian's a good babyface, but he needs freshened up, and it's interesting to see that if he's going to be literally leaving the company this year, and all signs point to that being the truth, yeah, I don't know why he's going out as a heel. I would have made him as a babyface, but I guess that's how it's going to work. Sheamus was looking like he was going to turn heel, but I think they flipped Christian so Sheamus wouldn't have to turn heel, but I don't know. We're going to see a lot more vicious side of Christian, which of course we've seen the last 2 episodes, of course Raw, the stuff with Daniel Bryan, and the stuff with Sheamus on this show, especially the stuff with Sheamus on this show, makes me think that Sheamus will not get turned heel right away. I think if it's going to happen, I say it doesn't happen until, my guess, SummerSlam at the earliest. You got to have some time to build it, because you got to do something with Christian right now while you still have him. So, since you have the time right now with Christian, what you have to do, you have to build Sheamus, and if you're going to turn him heel and feud him with Roman Reigns, which is something I called a long time ago, and I think that's actually a good idea, a good bump for Roman Reigns to beat Sheamus, especially after he ran over Mark Henry on Raw Monday night. I think that's probably the direction you want to go with this. And Sheamus is probably going to be turning heel soon, because Roman Reigns is definitely going to be a babyface by WrestleMania, if not at WrestleMania. So, that's what I'm thinking. We got midway through the match here, like we do here on Pop, and you guys should know how we do by now with my wonderful notes that I am getting ready to go over here. Sheamus with the modified crossface chicken wing. Christian punches his way out, gets the uppercut, and he comes off the ropes. Gets caught, drop toe hold of the middle rope, and he goes for the slingshot right hand, and Sheamus has seen every match I have, and caught him once, and drags him back in for the clubbing blows. Christian with up elbows out. And when I mean up elbows, it's like to the side, but he actually, up like that. Like upper elbows is pretty much what it was. So, they're on the floor. Sheamus basically spears Christian in the barricade. He charges in. He gets backdropped over into Justin Roberts' land, the timekeeper's area. So, here's something I've never seen before. The protective padding that is on the barricade, and Michael Cole even makes a comment, it's a barricade, but it's still padded, so, of course, the Elimination Chamber, there's not going to be padded, there's going to be steel everywhere. Well, what does Christian do? Christian smartly takes the padding off, revealing the steel below it, and he rams Sheamus shoulder and chest first into it about 6 times. Which is smart, because we're playing up the fact of Sheamus' legitimate arm injury, which is what cost him so much time out. And that's what they're doing at this point. It makes total sense to me. So he goes back in the ring and he nails the middle rope missile dropkick 1-2. Sheamus kicks out. So stomps on the arm and a leaping stomp on the arm, and he ties the arm up in the ropes. Sheamus punches him out of the corner and he gets caught stomping the elbow, and leaping stomp locks in a wrist lock. Wrist lock into the shoulders on the canvas, 1 count only. Sheamus kicks out. So following headbutt on 3 separate times makes a cover, 1 count only. Armbar, Sheamus punches his way out, pushes him off to the ropes. Boot in the midsection, goes for the kill switch, gets countered, backdrop, Christian lands on his feet, and they trade blows. He goes for, excuse me, goes for an elbow, goes up top, gets caught, rocket launched off, and the axe handle. And instead of an axe handle this time, he plays up the fact that his shoulder was bothering him, and he actually clotheslined him the second time. And, of course, I've talked about Sheamus's big spot here. He tossed him into the corner, usually goes for the charging shoulder in the corner. This time, he really didn't. He just tossed him off. He got the high knee and over-the-shoulder power slam, 1-2, and a kick out. Charges in, gets the boot up, and Christian plants him with a tornado flying armbar, 1-2, and a kick out. So he does the slingshot uppercut this time and does connect. But he goes for his move where he snaps the upper back across the top rope. Sheamus counters and does the clubbing blows anyway. Christian elbows his way out and tosses him shoulder first in the ring post. Rolls him up, stack on top, 1-2, and Sheamus kicks out. He goes to the middle rope, and he goes for a tornado DDT. Gets caught, Irish Curse backbreaker. Sheamus picks him up, does it again. And Christian goes to the floor, Sheamus chases him out, Christian back into the ring, and of course, he gets caught with a knee lift when he tries to take advantage. He picks him up, and he gets launched off the top, so just like Christian got launched off, Sheamus gets launched off now. He hits the middle rope elbow, goes for the kill switch, gets countered into the white noise, 1-2-3, and Sheamus wins. The match is over. Sheamus is celebrating on top of the turnbuckles, and Christian knocks him to the floor to a nice loud heel reaction from the crowd. So, interesting. I think the heel turn of Christian that we thought was just maybe desperation or the fact that he just wants to get it done and win the championship. Yeah, it's a real heel turn, and I don't have an issue with this. I have no problems with it at all. Who was not on the show? Well, let's look at it. The Elimination Chamber, shall we? Have Batista and Alberto Del Rio. Their storyline's been told, and I'm guessing you really didn't want to have Batista on this show because you're not going to use his... He doesn't have a Brock Lesnar schedule, but I'm sure there's stuff he doesn't have to do. He did do a house show over the weekend, but then again, that was, I think, on the West Coast, so yeah, there's always that. So we don't talk about this match. The Shield's on the show. Obviously, you don't have John Cena on the show. You don't have Randy Orton on the show. This was mainly about, in essence... The show is about Daniel Bryan. The show is about the Usos and the Outlaws. The show is about Sheamus and Christian and the Wyatt family. And Cesaro, the Brotherhood, Rey Mysterio, Jack Swagger, and Titus O'Neil. So yeah, it was interesting. So a lot of heavy hitters went on this show. Which is good because their story was told on Raw. So you had to have more time on SmackDown to really make sense out of it. So, before I get to my actual... simulation on 2K14 of the actual pay-per-view itself, I'm going to talk about the pay-per-view and what I think is going to happen. I will say right now that there was a segment in the show, more flirtation between Emma and Santino. It was during a dance-off with Summer Rae and Emma. Emma's got bigger fish to fry right now. Obviously, she is heading towards dethroning Paige's over 260-day reign of NXT Women's Championship. So... I don't know if they're going to do anything with them at the pay-per-view. I think they might. Or they could possibly save it for Raw. Given the fact that they did Emma and Summer Rae on NXT this week, which I will be talking about on Wednesday, I don't know if you really have the time to go into it. We might see stuff with Fandango, Summer Rae, Emma, and Santino, so that's a possibility. We're talking about the kickoff show, and the kickoff show will be the Brotherhood against the Nexus Relocation Program, Curtis Axel, and Ryback. I think that's a good possibility that if they're really going to do what Cody and Goldust are saying on Twitter that they're not going to do, that they're swearing up and down it's not going to happen, even though they've been very adamant about doing this forever in the day, and this seems to be like the way it's going to happen. If and only if you are doing the split between Goldust and Cody Rhodes, you put Ryback and Axel over. If not, then you have the Brotherhood go over. But I think at this point, I would put the Nexus over, given the fact that you really have to build more collusion, and you still did this. Cody didn't seem too happy that they lost on this episode of SmackDown. So even though Cody swears up and down it's not going to happen, Goldust swears up and down it's not going to happen, wrestling jargon usually means that that's probably completely false. So I would put Axel and Ryback over and continue the breakup of the Brotherhood. When it finally comes to a head, maybe tomorrow night on Raw, they finally go at it and they challenge each other to a match at WrestleMania. So I think that may be what happens. You have Darren Young and Titus O'Neil, the battle of the former primetime players. Obviously, they want to push Titus, and they're going to push Titus. Darren Young has been winning the house show matches. Don't let that fool you here, though. Darren actually got the one-up on Titus on the SmackDown episode, obviously causing Titus to lose to Dolph Ziggler with the whistle interference. So Titus is definitely over in this match. I would really like to say Alberto Del Rio has a chance in hell against Batista. He does not. They have booked Del Rio so terribly in this. They've made it look so one-sided, it's not even funny. I really wish this should have been someone else. I mean, I don't want to see more crapping on Damian Sandow, but this could have been Sandow's program, honestly. And it would have worked the same exact way. Del Rio is... I can't say he's unsalvageable right now, but it's going to take a whole lot to build back any credibility. I guess we can blame this on the fact that Del Rio is another superstar that's most likely leaving WWE by the end of this year. It's a shame. And even the fact that the fans even chanted C against Batista, they're not going to be happy. Batista's going to win this, and there's no way he's not going to. The only thing I can see is if there was actually, if we go the Royal Rumble mode, maybe like Big Show, Brock Lesnar. This was mentioned on the WNS podcast earlier this week. I just actually listened to it today. And it was basically said that if we go Royal Rumble in this and Del Rio just attacks Batista and we don't even have a match. I don't have a problem with that, but the issue with that is if that happens, we're going to have another match between these two. This ends now. This is basically a one-sided feud to build everybody up, to bring Batista back to be the babyface that Vince wants him to be, that apparently the fans just don't want at this point. Eventually, he's going to have to embrace the dark side and join Triple H, but still, right now, at least you have to book him as a babyface, so he's going to go over on Del Rio quite convincingly, and this is the end of this feud. I don't know what they're going to do with Del Rio from this, but my God, they need to really, really build him back up if they're going to do anything with him at Mania or anything with him before he leaves the company later this year. We have the New Age Outlaws defending the WWE Tag Team Championships. Yes, I'm saying this in 2014, folks. Isn't it wonderful to be Hunter's friend? And they're facing off against Jimmy and Jey Uso. I will say right now, and I've been saying this, that the Outlaws only took the titles off the Brotherhood so they could transition the belts to the Usos. That being said, the Usos are losing on Sunday. Why? Because it's more of a WrestleMania moment for the Usos to finally overcome the Outlaws at WrestleMania. And I want to see that. So I think the Usos lose on Sunday, but they win at Mania, and that's exactly how it should be. Intercontinental title, Big E defending against Jack Swagger, and, there's a lot of things you can go with this. You could put the title on Swagger and then have Swagger drop it on Raw Monday night, which is possible. See, here's the thing. What you do, if you have Cesaro losing the Chamber, which, of course, I'm going to throw that out there in a minute. You have Cesaro losing the Chamber, and you have Swagger win. Zeb obviously turns his back on Cesaro. Zeb and Swagger attack Cesaro, and let's say Cesaro costs Swagger the rematch against Big E on Raw Monday night. On the big Raw, Big E gets the title back. So Swagger has it for a day. Cesaro babyface, and Cesaro would face off against Swagger on SmackDown this week. I mean, you could do that. But that would require the title to get off Big E, and if it goes off Big E, it's only going to be for one night. And there is a potential title change on this show, on Raw, apparently, that we're hearing about. What I'm thinking, though, it may be AJ dropping the Divas Championship. I think that's a possibility, but I don't know exactly to who, because I damn sure wouldn't give it to Cameron. You can't give it to Naomi. The Bellas, you can't do anything with them, and the only thing you really could do right there is... Oh, I don't know. I mean, the only possible thing I could think of is... something they would never go with. Put it on an NXT diva. Put it on Paige or Emma, but that's not going to happen. Not now. Not yet. You could put the title on Natalya. I wouldn't have an issue with that, but you'd have to build some credibility there because obviously Natty's been on not a losing streak, but she's not really been pushed towards AJ very much, except for the 6 diva tag matches and the tag matches they've had. But You could do that, but like I said, if you want to go the direction I would go, you have Swagger beat Big E somehow with nefarious means, and then you have Swagger drop the title back to Big E, with Cesaro costing Swagger the match, and Cesaro beats Swagger like a drum, going into his match at Mania against somebody big. Don't know exactly who that's going to be yet, but somebody big. So, obviously that's a potential thing that could happen, but smart money is probably Big E beating Swagger like a drum and retaining the championship, and that not even happening. But that's a way you could go things. It could go either way at this point. So, if I had to pick one, I'm going to actually go with Big E to retain. If Swagger does win, I did call it, so I know what you're saying. Oh, you can't call both. Well, I said both, so there you go. So, we've got another match. It's the Elimination Chamber itself. Randy Orton defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against 5 other competitors. Of course, we had Orton run the gauntlet. He lost to Daniel Bryan, and then he lost to John Cena. I'm not doing it in order. Well, okay, I can't do it in order. Okay, he lost to Daniel Bryan, and then he beat Christian, and then he lost to John Cena, then he lost to Cesaro, and then he beat Sheamus, which is exactly what I said was going to happen. So there. Cesaro and Disney, prognosticator. I am the Amazing Kreskin. So, what's going to happen here? A lot of things that happen here. The Wyatt family obviously have to go after Cena. You have Kane to go after Bryan. You have Christian just wants to be a tool now, so that works. You have Sheamus just happy to be out there at this point. You have the fans don't want to see Cena win. The fans don't want to see Randy Orton retain. There's going to be a lot of pissed off fans on Sunday, without any question. Here's what I think's going to happen. Unless there's something happens and somebody in the chamber gets taken out beforehand. And I know I thought it was going to be Christian, but Christian going heel, I don't know about that now. I know a lot of people, I think Ashley even brought up something, we were talking about, like, Punk coming in and taking the spot in the chamber. No, that's not going to happen either. And it's a nice idea and all, but no, it's not a work, folks. It really isn't, sadly. So, what I think is going to happen is this. I think Christian goes out first. I think Sheamus goes out second. So, we're down to Orton, Cena, Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan. Well, I think the Wyatt family are going to interfere and distract Cena, and Cesaro is going to eliminate him. So all the fans that wanted Cesaro to win on Monday night are going to be pacified. And the fact that Cena loses in a multi-man match is not really a big deal, and it's a nice big rub for Cesaro, which is what they're planning on doing right now. And that's what's going to end up happening. And then Bryan gets past Cesaro, and it's down to Bryan and Orton. Bryan's about to win, has the fire-breathing knee, and Kane literally breathes fire, comes in the ring and interferes, causing Orton to retain. And we have Kane and Daniel Bryan have a little program before Mania, and hopefully Daniel Bryan does something after this. So, what I'm saying right now is this. I will go with the Nexus Relocation Program, Curtis Axel and Ryback, to win over the Brotherhood, and look for more cracks in the Rhodes family to continue, and leading to their match at Mania, when I have a feeling they're going to sucker punch each other, or someone's going to sucker punch the other. I think Cody sucker punches Goldust on Raw Monday night, leading to their match at Mania, because Goldust right now, with as over as he is in this comeback, he's in the best shape of his career. Dustin's the babyface here. I think Cody's going to have to go back to being dashing. Not necessarily that, but he has to go back to being a heel, so that's what I think's going to happen. You could go either way with Swagger and Big E Langston, honestly, but I gotta get used to the no Langston, but still. Unless they're going to take the title off of Swagger on Monday night via Cesaro interference, which leads to their breakup, Big E retains. I think that you could take the title off of Big E and put it on Fandango and let Fandango and Santino feud over it. Do something else with Big E at this point. Maybe have Big E help out Mark Henry for the time being, and then push him heavy after that. You have Titus O'Neil over Darren Young, and that's pretty self-explanatory. The Usos will win at Mania, so they have to lose tomorrow against the Outlaws. And I think Randy Orton is the sole survivor in Elimination Chamber. That's not necessarily the right thing to do, but necessarily what is going to happen. If anybody else wins the Chamber, I will be very shocked. I think we've set up Bryan being a sympathetic winner, and we've also set up Bryan being stopped by Kane when he tries to win. You could basically set up a fact with the Wyatts. If they're going to do this Bray Wyatt-John Cena match at Mania, which seems to be a lock at this point, they have to do something with it. We can't just play up an attack that they've completely forgotten about. They have to do something, and I think they're going to do something at Elimination Chamber and definitely on Raw Monday night, I'm pretty sure. Interesting to see what happens with Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker on Raw Monday night. I don't know if Brock Lesnar's going to be on the show, but it will be interesting to see what happens. The start of the WWE Network, so a lot to be happy about if you're a wrestling fan right now, especially if you're a WWE fan. So that's Elimination Chamber, that's SmackDown, so that's my video, and a lot of things to talk about come Raw Monday night. Really looking forward to the show, going to be really fun, and Elimination Chamber tomorrow night. Looking forward to the pay-per-view, and I will be definitely watching and purchasing the WWE Network after my 1-week free trial ends after next week, so that's a guarantee. So, as always, in the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, and help spread the word about Pop. If you'd like to like our Facebook fan page, go right ahead, it's Sir Owen Disney Pop. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Sir Owen Disney. If you'd like to just go old school and be my friend on Facebook, it's Owen Disney. Last but certainly not least, you want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions, but anything you want to see on Pop, segments you want to see on Pop, new versus ideas, new movie reviews, anything you would like to talk about, be my guest. SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. So I'm going to go sim the pay-per-view. So until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.